bankruptcy because of self-inflicted damage. They were team firing over here, saying, you know what, everybody pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Our ideology is nobody should get anything that they don't deserve. Now they want a bailout. They're asking for socialism. Socialism bad until I need socialism. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Curtis is a small town of 900 people in rural southwest Nebraska. The Curtis Medical Center announced yesterday it's closing. It is the only healthcare provider in the community. They blame Trump's Medicaid cuts. Aw man, you know, I would feel really bad if this wasn't how you niggas voted when it came down to it. Only one of these people here advocated for cuts to Medicaid. Out of a population of 900 people, half of you could vote, presumably. And 400 of you, 87% of the people that could vote went for Donald Trump? You deserve everything that's coming. There is no possible way for me to justify what I am currently looking at on my screen. 400 of you. And now y'all are saying, oh, Trump's cuts they're gonna affect us negatively. Yeah, it's what we fucking told you.
Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's kind of like we told you so, right? Oh, I love this. I like to stick it in your face and rub it in. It's kind of like, when Trump was telling everybody he was going to come after the undocumented people in this country that were working hard and deport them, that they would kind of move to a state they felt safe in. And apparently, Nebraska wasn't one of them. They packed up their stuff and they headed on out to a state that would welcome them with open arms. So now you're going bankrupt. And as somebody that lives in a blue state, I could give a shit less. Boo-hoo. Oh, and I can't wait for the hated comments. I can't wait for it. You voted for this! You voted for this! And now you're getting it. So why are you mad at us? We didn't vote for this. Nope. We voted completely against this. You voted for this. I better not get one BS comment. Not one. Not one. Oh, how mean you are. The stink. You're so mean. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not mean. I'm just giving you what you wanted. You wanted this. You voted for it. You made your bed. Now lay in it. Have a day.
So let me get this straight. $45 billion going towards building ICE concentration camps across the United States, but a child cannot go to school and get a free fucking lunch. Food for the children not in the budget. Only shackles, chains, and free slave labor, baby.
But get this, I didn't get not only one, heck, not even two. I got 3 warnings about this being misinformation. So let's look this up to see if it's true. Oh, would you look at that? The AmericanImmigrationCenter.org, NBC News, and the New York Times all reported that this is true. And just to make sure I wasn't tripping, I even looked at a source that I don't even know about. All reported true. So why did I get 3 warnings about this being misinformation when it's not? So yeah, this is true. They are allocating $45 billion to detention camps. We didn't have money to give the families for food stamps when the government shut down. We don't want to feed children, and we don't have any health care plans that's going to replace the ACA. Oh, and let me remind you, we just sent Argentina $40 billion to stabilize their economy. Oh, but don't let me remind you again that this is the worst economy that we've been in since I've been alive. But we have $45 billion for detention centers, and you're going to argue with me that America isn't messed up. Yeah, go argue with a wall. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Nebraska, we're at a moment in time where there is so much in the news, both at the state level and the national level, which is just so disheartening to see. And I know that the vast majority of Nebraskans just want government that's going to work for them and is going to make their lives easier. Our governor gave away a $2.5 million illegal contract to a female friend. And this comes at a time where we have a $471 million budget deficit. Now, the governor claims that the state is overflowing with money and that Nebraska is rich. But right now, we are seeing the highest farm bankruptcies since the 1980s and the farm crisis. We're seeing working families working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. Nebraska is not overflowing with money. And now, in order to pay for the tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy that's got us in this budget deficit, our governor wants to take away funds from the disabled and from our veterans. He is going after the most vulnerable to pay for tax cuts and for illegal contracts to his rich buddies and corporations that backed his campaign.
I'm from Nebraska, and it's no surprise that Ricketts voted for Trump's god-awful, horribly dangerous bill. Senator Pete Ricketts used to be our governor here in Nebraska, and his family is extremely wealthy. They own TD Ameritrade, they own the Chicago Cubs, and he basically has bought off all the offices in Nebraska. How I've intersected with him is I'm a pediatrician. I've done a lot of public health, a lot of statewide work. I've been a leader in child health advocacy. I was the governor appointed under him chair of the Early Childhood Interagency Coordinating Council that oversaw the NDE, so Nebraska Department of Ed, and the Nebraska DHHS. We have Head Start, and then all of the early childhood work that was happening, all the early childhood data. And so we were an advisory board, all governor appointed from across the state, and we would meet and create a biennial report. It's legislated that we're required to do this. It goes to the governor's office. We are to present all the data of amazing stuff happening, even during COVID, okay? So what happened was he never met with me. He never met with our team. He never met with our council to go over the report, any of the early childhood data during any part of my term serving on that council or as chair. He simply completely ignored any request we had to share our data, to share what was going on in early childhood in the state of Nebraska. He did absolutely nothing. He didn't communicate. He didn't respond to requests. And this was very unprecedented when the governors before in the past had met, and it was common practice that they, really took on early childhood and played a role even if they were Republican. Okay, so this guy does absolutely frickin' nothing, okay? This is a big deal for me to say this, okay, and to come out with this. So he does no work, he does nothing, he didn't appoint anybody while, during my term and while I served on that to the council, so we were just really kind of trickling down in numbers, and it was really sad. So now he's senator, now he's just going to go along with Trump with this horrible bill. And why would anybody be surprised? But what you might be surprised at is that he does absolutely nothing. A lot of these legislators, a lot of these political leaders, they absolutely don't do their job. They don't do any work at all. They have no interest in anything at all that's happening to children in their state. And Medicaid being cut, don't care. They absolutely do not care about children, children's health. They only care about profiting themselves and building up their families' exponential wealth.
All right, so exactly what do we know about Nebraska? First of all, Nebraska is a red state. Yes, they are Republican, and that's how they voted. They have never voted for Democrats. Now, Americans are not happy about Nebraska. Right now, Nebraska is facing bankruptcy, and so many Americans are saying, this is what you voted for. And Nebraska's people, they are saying, this is not what we were promised. So, who is lying and who is telling the truth? That is the reaction I want you guys to get from this video. So we're going to watch these people who are talking about Nebraska, and then at the end, you're going to comment exactly what's going on in Nebraska and find out the truth. Who is lying and who is telling the truth. But one thing is for sure, when you vote against your best interest, at the end of the day, you have to face the reality. And this is the reality for Nebraska. So guys, my name is Faiza Neshika, and this is your channel. Please subscribe to my channel.
There are white people going viral right now for their regret over voting for Donald Trump. And I put that word into heavy quotation marks because I genuinely question if they even know what the word regret means. One woman in particular got on TikTok crying a whole theatrical production about how people are not greeting her with open arms, how they're being mean to her in her comment section. Lady, are you fucking for real? Somehow you are the victim, not the millions of people harmed by the very system that you voted to prop up not once, not twice, but 3 fucking times. Not the immigrants who lost their family members to deportation or concentration camps. Not the communities of color who have been terrorized by the very policies that you voted to enable. You're the victim because people were mean to you in your comment section. And this tells me everything I need to know about your regret. You're not sorry, you're uncomfortable, and you're confusing the two. You claim that you're doing the work, yet at the first sign that that work becomes difficult, you make videos crying to garner sympathy for yourself. So the emotional labor falls on everyone else again. And then to make it worse, there's a whole slew of people in her comment sections coddling her. Oh, you're such a good girl because you realize that you made a mistake by voting for him 3 times. It's so brave of you to speak up. Then, some of you have the fucking audacity to police how other people respond to this video. Specifically, the people that MAGA spent years targeting. People of color, the LGBTQ community, immigrants. You want them to welcome ex-MAGA with open arms. You want them to perform forgiveness for your comfort. The people that we should all have sympathy for are the ones who have been harmed, not the ones who do the harming and are now sad because everyone remembers. But here's the part that really gets me. Same crying video. She said she won't be voting in future elections. So instead of working to dismantle the oppressive system that you helped build, your solution is to throw your hands up and do nothing but cry online. That is not remorse. That is not doing the work. That's pandering for likes and comments to appease your praise kink. That's demanding forgiveness without actually earning it. Look, if people want to coddle ex-MAGA voters, that's your prerogative. Nobody can stop you for handing out participation trophies. But if you are an alleged regretful MAGA, do not expect anyone to forgive you. Do not expect a warm welcome. Do not expect marginalized communities to throw you a fucking parade. Do the fucking difficult work. Sit with your discomfort. Sit with the fact that people are rightfully angry at you. And sit with the fact that your regret doesn't undo any of the damage that you caused. The only way you will maybe, and that's a big if, be welcomed back into a society that is rightfully skeptical of you is if you spend the rest of your life proving that you are worth redemption. That means voting for progressive candidates who actually want to help people. That means showing up to protests. That means putting your fucking body on the line. That means doing the hard work even when nobody is clapping for you. Otherwise, save your fucking tears and go cry about it in your journal.
Hey, Nebraska, is this you? Come on up to the front of the classroom. I have some information for you.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So I know that when you elected Donald Trump, you decided to put all of your apprehensions aside and elect a person who was clear about his intentions. He was going to get rid of undocumented immigrants, which would cause your primary industry, the agriculture industry, to go down. Then he decided to do away with the farm subsidies, basically welfare, that would just annihilate farmers in Nebraska. But wait, there's more. Those 2 things are just the tip of the iceberg. I was told from a well-placed source that you guys are considering bankruptcy in the not-so-distant future. They said 6 months or so. So if you combine all of that bad news with these people deciding to vote against you, who desperately need health care, they are and will and have voted for a framework of a budget that will basically annihilate Medicaid in your state. Let me give you a secret. I don't know if you know this, but over 341,000 residents in Nebraska are on Medicaid. That represents 3.7 goes to the state of Nebraska for health care. And this is not just health care, just ad nauseum. This is health care that goes to take care of patients and then also goes to fund hospitals in a rural state. Hospitals that are desperately needed. Now, this is the kicker. Of that $3 billion or so that goes into the state, the federal government picks up 69%. In essence, only 30% of that money you have to contribute. But the problem is, since you're going bankrupt and all, you're not going to be able to contribute that. You have come into the zone of FAFO. Unfortunately, that map, this map, is going to be your downfall.
Well, guys, on today's episode of You Won't Believe This Shit, this is Nebraska Senator Steve Erdman.
We have killed 2,000 babies since abortion became legal. Those are 2,000 people in the state of Nebraska that could be working and filling some of those positions, and we have vacancies. They're not here. Our state population has not grown except by those foreigners who've moved here or refugees who've been placed here. Why is that? It's because we've killed 200,000 people. These are people we've killed.
Just to make sure I've got this right, the reason we need to make abortions illegal is because we don't have enough slave labor. That about cover it?
We're going to get the drug prices down, not 30 or 40%, which would be great, not 50 or 60. No, we're going to get them down 1,000%, 600%, 500%, 1,500%, numbers that are not even thought to be achievable because I've used a certain talent that I have and convinced the drug companies that you have no choice. The drug companies were selling drugs, same company, in Europe and other places, based on what Europe told them to sell them at. And they said, let America pick up the difference, and I wouldn't let it happen. So I invoked what's called the favored nations provision, so that we will pay the same price as the lowest nation anywhere in the world.
Right? They say voting has consequences, and the consequences Nebraska is feeling at the moment. Right now, they are crying because they are finding life so difficult. When they look at their bills, it's double or even triple. It has increased. When they look at their life, they have lost jobs. When they look at the policies, healthcare is triple expensive. So who is to be blamed? Majority of them, they are saying, hey, we were promised something else. We voted. But the reality is this is not what we were promised. This is exactly the opposite. We were betrayed and we're not happy about it. So Nebraska people, they are saying their senator is not doing his job. Based on recent reports, polling and constituent feedback leading into the 2026 election cycle, Nebraska Senator Peter Ricketts is facing intense criticism from challengers and segment of voters who characterize him as a do-nothing politician, largely due to his background as a billionaire, his alignment with corporate interests, and perceived inaccessibility to everyday working Nebraskans. The reality is the way billionaires live and the way a common person who depends on their 9-to-5 check is a different lifestyle completely. While a 9-to-5 person will literally look at their pay bill, will look at their cash and count every single time something is going something to do with bills. While a billionaire, whether you tell him to add $1,000, $2,000, it doesn't matter because they can afford it and they don't feel it. They don't feel the pinch. But if you look at somebody who literally depend on their paycheck, if they end up losing that job, they're just one step away from becoming homeless. So yes, if somebody is complaining and saying, how come this person is a billionaire, is our senator, but we're not able to have access to him? How come it's not related to us, our daily lifestyle? Because the reality is a billionaire lifestyle and a person who literally depend on their paycheck to survive are two different realities. And that is the truth. So despite being a prominent Republican figure, that is the Senator Peter Ricketts, Ricketts has faced an unexpectedly competitive political environment with polls in early 2026 showing him statistically tied with independent challenger Dan Osborne. So the key reason for criticism is as follows. There is corporate interest versus working class. People are criticizing the fact that working class and corporate interest are two different scenarios. Corporate interest is whereby they all look at the profit. What can they get out of it? While the working class, all they care about is policies that literally are going to take care of their life. They're going policies that are going to make their life easier. So who is benefiting and who is not? That is the question that people are asking, because if you pass policies that are going to benefit corporates, then it's only business people who are going to benefit and laugh all the way to the bank. While the common person, working class, are the ones who are paying taxes left, right, and center, are the ones who are feeling the pinch. So, which policies are favoring the common people and which policies are favoring the corporate interests? But if you're a billionaire and you have businesses, interests everywhere, believe you me, the policies that you're going to pass, majority of them are literally policies that are going to favor your business so that you can enjoy the benefit of having profit left, right, and center. Perception of inaccessibility. Reports indicate that Ricketts has been confronted at town halls and accused of ignoring constituents' concerns and avoiding direct debates. Some critics view his action as disrespectful to the people he represents. Reality is, having access to a billionaire is very hard as compared to having access to a person who depend on their 9 to 5 check. That is the reality, because a billionaire has a lot of stuff to do. His schedule is busy, and yes, he's up and down running his business. While a person who's literally is a working class, he knows exactly what he's supposed to do when it comes to the people who literally he is representing. All right, so we have the carpetbagger allegations, that is wealth. As a billionaire and a former owner of the Chicago Cubs, some criticize him, portray him as out of touch with the financial realities of average Nebraska resident. All right, so one thing is for sure, if you're a billionaire for a couple of years down the line, literally your reality is different as compared to somebody who is a working class. A person who is a billionaire does not see the world as the same way as compared to a person who depends to their 9 to 5 day job. A 9 to 5 day job, person literally, his challenges are so different reality as compared to a billionaire daily lifestyle challenges. A billionaire, all he cares about is the bottom line, how much he's earning and which business is making money, which policies are benefiting him and not. While a working class person, a normal person who depend on their 9 to 5 job, all he cares about is how can I work and take care of my bills? Which policy is going to favor me and my family and my community so that we are going to have an easier time in life? Which policies are going to help my family and community and make easier for people to pay their bills on time, and of course affordability. And that is the reality. The way a rich person look at daily routine as compared to a common person daily life routine, and it's like night and day. And yes, you are literally dealing with two scenarios that literally people cannot relate on any level whatsoever. So, in conclusion, the narrative that Ricketts is a do-nothing politician is primarily a campaign strategy that opponents have portrayed him as an entrenched elite rather than a reflection of a total lack of activity, as he is an active fundraiser and conservative advocate. However, the closeness of the 2026 polling indicates that this criticism is gaining attraction among Nebraska voters who are concerned about the representation and economic issues. The reality is, yes, Nebraska's citizens are suffering. They have lost jobs. They look at their bills, it has tripled. They're looking at the grocery bill, it has tripled. They're looking at their lifestyle, it's unbearable, painful. When they look at rent, prices is gone high. The grocery bills have gone high. They look at the Healthcare Affordable Care Act, it has gone high. Everything is expensive, and they're saying this is not what we were promised when you voted the way we did. You betrayed us. We are feeling the pain. So what exactly are you doing to make those changes? That is the question they're asking, and they're waiting for that answer. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear from you guys. My name is Nishika, and this is my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. I'd love for you guys to be part of and parcel of my community. Bye-bye until next time.